The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Will the Jets have a full-on fire sale? We'll break down the latest report from ESPN's Rich Cimini and talk about the state of the Jets. Matt O'Leary will be joining us in his weekly spot. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Justice numbers are not good from this game. Is he going to be your quarterback next week, or would you consider?
What kind of question is that?
How much worse can it get for Aaron Glenn's Jets team? Can he salvage this season and give us something to be excited about? Every step of the journey, the Jake Asman Show will have you covered, breaking down all the storylines of every game and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Another reminder to please RSVP if you plan on attending our free Jets-Bengals watch party at Goldies Tavern in New York City, located 1 block from Madison Square Garden, Penn Station. So easy to get to if you're coming from anywhere in the tri-state area. Should be fun. Win or lose, these events are always great. We'll commiserate all together. We'll have a halftime raffle that features a signed Breece Hall framed jersey, Wayne Corbett football, Kevin Mawai signed jersey, and some other prizes yet to be announced. So just click the link in the description for the show you're watching right now, and you can RSVP and get your spot and be all set for our watch party on the 26th. Let's say hello right now to our good friend, the great Matt O'Leary. Matt, the Jets are now 0-6. They're playing Carolina on Sunday. No Garrett Wilson in all likelihood, despite whatever Aaron Glenn was trying to say yesterday. Maybe no Josh Reynolds either. So are you hoping to see Justin Fields and this offense look a lot like the Navy offense on Sunday?
I was just going to say, are you familiar with Army Navy? Because I think that's what we're going to be looking like on Sunday. No more than 15 passing attempts for Justin Fields. Just run the crap out of the football.
That to me is like their only path, right? It's unreal. Now, Fields said yesterday that his legs have not been feeling great the last couple of weeks, and you could see that because they haven't been calling a lot of design runs for him. But I heard that yesterday, and it just got me even more upset that Aaron Glenn didn't go to Tyrod at any point in the second half, because if you're just trying to make Justin Fields a drop-back pocket quarterback, he's bad. He's worse than Zach Wilson at that. The whole point of having Fields is that the threat of him being able to take off and run opens up things in your offense, as we saw week 1 when he had his best game ever. Like, I'm so down on how this team has been coached. And even that answer yesterday from Fields where he said he feels a lot better this week. It's like, really then? Like, why wasn't Tyrod in this game on Sunday?
I know, and that's the frustrating part, because they could have went to Tyrod at the half. They could have went to him halfway through the fourth quarter, and they probably still win that game. They needed 15 yards at the end, and they couldn't do it. And that was one of the more frustrating Jet games in recent memory. I really had no faith that they were going to win that game, but they just kept hanging around. And, credit to the defense. They played significantly better than I thought they would in this game against Denver. They allowed 13 points, and they still lose the game. I felt like I time traveled back to 2022 watching that game yesterday or last week, with the offense playing the way that it did and the defense stepping up and playing good.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. It's amazing. The line opened up with the Jets being a favorite, Matt, on Sunday. Now they're an underdog. It's staying at 1.5. Carolina has yet to win a road game, but they're coming in feeling good about themselves. 2 straight wins. They're 3-3 on the season. They just beat up the Cowboys, a team that owned the Jets in the prior couple of weeks when we saw that one at MetLife. What's your feel for this? When we talked about the offense and the ineptitude that we saw on Sunday, I'd imagine it won't be worse than that in this game, even without Garrett. It's hard to do that twice with -10 net passing. But what is your feel for this one going in?
Yeah, I don't blame anyone at all for making the switch to Carolina being the favorite in this one. Garrett being that much of a swing, I think, makes sense when you look at the rest of the wide receiver room. And Josh Reynolds, who's, the de facto number 2 receiver, he's questionable to play this week too. So you're looking at like Alan Lazard, Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson lining up 3 wide, which is a scary, scary thought. But I'm having a hard time seeing the path for the Jets offense to have success. I don't think it's going to be another -10 net passing yards day for Justin Fields and the Jets offense. But if we're expecting a 25 point plus showcasing from this offense, I don't see the path to that happening, unfortunately, this week. So it's going to take a special effort from the defense in this game.
Couple things I want to get into now. Let's start with the trade deadline, which is looming over this team at 0-6. The reality is the Jets are going nowhere. You look at where they are in the tankathon standings. They're in first place in that department. So for those who have already entered tank mode, congratulations. This is your year. Deadline is November 4th. The Jets have a couple guys that have been rumored to be involved in some deals. I'm going to play you the latest from ESPN's Rich Cimini on his podcast yesterday, Flight Deck. Here's Rich going through what he has heard and some possible trade scenarios for the Jets at the deadline.
Let's go through it quickly here. I mean, obviously, most of the rumors centered around Breece Hall, who, by the way, on his Instagram used a hashtag free20, meaning his jersey number, of course. I don't know if that means he wants to be freed up in the offense to do more, or he just wants to be free out of New York. We'll see. He's having a good year. He definitely will garner interest. I doubt the Jets would be able to get more than a 5 for him. If they can get a 4, I think, I don't know. I don't think they would trade him with Braylon Allen out for at least until December and quite possibly the rest of the season. The way things are going, why would you bring Braylon Allen back off a knee injury to play some meaningless games at the end? So if you trade Breece Hall, you're essentially going with the totally unproven Isaiah Davis as your main running back. That puts your offense in a really, really bad spot. So unless the Jets get a Godfather offer for Breece Hall, I don't think they're going to move him. You also mentioned Quinnen Williams. I do not anticipate the Jets moving him. Will they get calls? Yes, they will. I would absolutely expect that. I think this is an off-season storyline to watch. They're not going to trade Garrett Wilson. They just signed him. They're not going to trade Sauce Gardner. They just signed him. Quincy Williams, interesting. That one I will say is interesting. Last year of his contract, I don't think they're going to extend him or sign him to a long-term deal. He's out now with a shoulder injury, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks. I could see a team like San Francisco, hello, Robert Saleh, inquiring about him. Saleh just lost his middle linebacker, Fred Warner. He loves Quincy Williams. That possibly could be something I would keep an eye on. I also think Saleh will ask about Jermaine Johnson. He lost Nick Bosa in San Francisco. He really likes Jermaine Johnson. I would be very surprised if the Jets lost Johnson. They have him under team control for at least another year. Next year is at $15 million, I want to say, or $14 million. So he's a guy you want to keep. Edge rushers are hard to find. I would not trade him at all. Maybe a Michael Carter II gets dealt. Clearly, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. did well against Denver. I think he's going to Wally Pip Carter at that position, so keep an eye on Carter. And Tony Adams, I mean, I don't know if you could get anything for him in a trade. He just got benched this week, but I do know Saleh likes him. The 49ers showed some interest in Adams during free agency, so maybe that's another one to keep an eye out on for. But I do think the Jets will do some sort of dealing at the deadline.
Oh. Do we lose him? The Jets hurt Jake Asman that badly that he just completely froze and left it. It's Matt O'Leary running the Jake Asman show. What's going on, guys? I'm sure Jake will be back momentarily. Not sure what just happened
there, Matt. I got zapped. I don't know.
Yeah. That was tough.
The StreamYard gods or the internet gods crushed me. I don't know. Did the full Cimini clip play, though? I don't think it got lost. Okay. So just going through that, what was your initial takeaways on some of the players you mentioned and the possibility of the Jets making some deals?
Yeah, I think where he started with Breece Hall was the most interesting to me. because I feel very on the fence about trading Breece Hall. On the one side, if you make the case that he's not going to be on the team next year and you want to get something for him and you want to trade him in a lost season, okay, like I see that. The thought of what this offense would look like without Breece Hall the rest of the way is also really scary to think about. So I kind of see both sides on that one. Quincy, I think, has got to get healthy first before we get in the trade conversation. He hasn't played since, what was the Buffalo game he got hurt? I'm trying to remember back to which game Quincy Williams got hurt. I don't remember off the top of my head.
It was the Tampa Bay Bucks game.
Tampa Bay. Okay, so the following week in week 3. But it's been a while since we've seen him too. So I don't know if a team's going to want to trade for that if he's still banged up and injured. So him playing before the trade deadline, I think, would help that cause. But they kind of made their decision already when they signed Jimmy and Sherwood. I don't think they're going to pay 2 linebackers big bucks. So the Quincy one makes a ton of sense. And I don't know about you, but I have no interest in trading Jermaine Johnson. That's someone that I'd like to keep around. Oh, the Jets broke Jay Gasman and StreamYard. Not good. Not good, folks. I see there's a few super chats that I'm sure we'll get to momentarily and go through comments too before Jake gets back. Frozen again. ISU says absolutely do not trade JJ. No, I'm with you on that one.
Could you imagine if my internet actually worked for longer than 30 seconds at a time, man? I don't know. This is someday, man. Before I get knocked out again, let me just say I have a sick giveaway that we're doing today in honor of the fact that when Matt and I were at one of our first ever Jet games, Darrelle Revis had a pick 6 against the Panthers. How about a signed Darrelle Revis helmet that I will give away on the show today? It's going to be during the second show. So we're going to give people across this show and the second stream this afternoon with Dylan Terriman a chance to enter. So before my internet goes out again, because I have no idea what's happening right now, I just reconnected my router. So hopefully that helps. Want to remind people that you could gift memberships or send in requisite super chats to win a signed Darrelle Revis helmet. It includes the display case that you see there on the screen. So I want to make sure I mention that before I get knocked off the air again. But Matt, I know we were in the middle of talking about Jermaine Johnson. I'm with you. I would not trade Jermaine at all unless someone gives me a Jamal Adams offer or something crazy like that. Okay, I'll reconsider. But you saw how important he was immediately when he came back this past week. That guy's part of, I think, the solution for this team, big picture. I want to keep him. He's a leader, premium position. He's under contract for another year. I wouldn't deal him. And I'm not saying they can't consider trading Quinnen because maybe the timeline for him doesn't match up with where this team is headed. But I don't want to do it in season. I think I could get better offers if I wait till the offseason. If they do decide they want to move on from Quinnen, I'm going to wait.
We're going to wait on Quinnen Williams. I would wait too. Jake's going to be back in a second here. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. This is insane.
I agree with you on Quinnen Williams. I wouldn't trade him. Also, too, just to add on top of it, he's likely to get a new contract. He doesn't have any guaranteed money yet. So whoever's trading for him has to do it with the assumption of giving him a new deal. And I just wonder how much that impacts the actual trade value. And if you're not getting a first round pick for Quinnen Williams, I don't think it's worth it.
Completely agree. You have to get at least a first and then some for Quinnen, right? And you could probably get that at the deadline, but I think you could get way more if you allow teams to go into the offseason to all bid on the same player. Like there's some teams that are out of it because of injuries. Maybe they'd be on Quinnen if they lose some guys in free agency, or a team really establishes themselves this year with a quarterback and a rookie deal. And they're like, hey, we think we're Quinnen Williams away from being a legit Super Bowl contender. I don't see the point in trading him. And also, it's not like Q is past his prime. He's 28 at a position where you could be elite into your mid-30s. So I'm in no rush to trade him.
Yeah, that's where I am too. Like, it's not like he plays corner or running back and is 27 years old or 28 years old, right? Like, he should be still top 5 at his position for another 4 or 5 years. And I really hope that this retool, or whatever you want to call it, rebuild, isn't going to take that long. I would be open to keeping Quinnen Williams, unless obviously someone gives just an insane offer. Then yeah, you have to take it. But I'm not actively shopping Quinnen Williams with the thought of trading him.
Your thoughts on the Breece Hall situation, right? Because obviously there's been a lot of smoke. Glenn shutting it down yesterday, just saying it's just rumors and his position on Breece hasn't changed. But the reality is, if they're not going to re-sign Breece and you could get something for him, there is an argument to be made. Hey, we're already this bad with him on the team. How much worse could it really be without him? So your thoughts on the idea of trading Breece, and if they do decide to do it, what would be the minimum you'd want if you're actually going to go through with it?
I don't think you're going to get a ton for him, which is another part of the reason why I'm apprehensive about it. If they do pull the trigger on a Breece Hall trade, I think you're looking at like a 4th round pick. I think what Samini said, a 5th. Maybe it's that. If it's a 5th, like I think I'd rather just bite the bullet and let him walk in free agency at that point. But if you're getting anything higher than a 4th, I think it makes sense. But I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that he gets traded to, some team for a 4th round pick. And it wouldn't shock me if he goes to a team and has a lot of success and has some, big touchdowns in the playoffs, because I think he's a really talented player. It just might not line up for the Jets timeline wise. So that one's going to sting, I think.
This was Glenn yesterday, for those who missed it, shutting down the Breece Hall trade conversation.
You said before the season you were pretty emphatic about not wanting to trade Breece Hall, and now all of a sudden we're getting closer to the deadline. These rumors are running rampant again. But what's your position now?
They're rumors. Still feel the same way.
He still feels the same way. While we're on the topic of Glenn pressers, I thought yesterday was another bad look for this head coach. Immediately, right off the top, he's like pushing back on like very logical and fair questions about Garrett Wilson's status from Brian Costello. And then the clip that made the most noise was when, I believe it was also Brian Costello, talked about, hey, does Fields maybe need to get the ball out quicker, give his receivers a chance to make some plays? And Glenn was like, yes, he does. Man coverage, you got to give a receiver a chance to make a play. But at the same time, you guys would be bitching if he threw an interception. And it's like, come on, man. You had -10 net passing yards. Like, you don't need to add that. Oh, you guys would be bitching if he throws an interception. Yeah, if he plays terrible, he'll be criticized. That's how this works. Like, you're a player in your past, Aaron Glenn. You should know that. I think he's got like rabbit ears with what people say, and I don't think that's good for the head coach of the Jets, where there's going to be a lot said about you until you start winning, that he feels that strongly with these pressers against the media to logical questions.
Yeah, and like I didn't think the question was honestly unfair at all. And the same thing with the Justin Fields question after the game. It was strange, and it's getting hard to defend. Like I've liked Aaron Glenn. I didn't mind the hire at all. I think it's imperative that he wins games, because if it continues to look this way for the next 11 weeks and they finish with the number 1 overall pick, it's going to be really hard to justify bringing him back. And I don't want the Jets to be in that scenario. I know they have the number 1 pick, and they're likely to take a quarterback and all that, but I think it's important for this team to win some games and just look like a functioning NFL team, because right now they don't. It looks like an absolute disaster.
And that game on Sunday was so bad, and it happened in a nationally televised spot. So now it's not just like the Jet universe that is seeing what's happening here with this team, why they're winless despite having talent and all that. It's wow. Like, that wasn't just a bad game. That was an absolute nightmare.
It was an absolute nightmare in that game. I've never seen an offensive performance like that. -10 net passing yards is really hard to fathom. I just don't know how that is even possible for an NFL offense.
Did I cut out there? I think I might have. I don't know.
You did. I tried to hold down the fort with my answer and talk a little bit longer till you came back, but
well done. You're a pro. I don't know what's happening here. Like, I'm completely hopeless right now. This is a tough place to be to try and do a 2-hour show when you don't know if your internet is going to last at all. But yeah, I just feel like how they respond now this week is really important. I know we could say, who cares? It's Carolina. What would a win at Carolina do? No, man. Like, does he still have the buy-in from the team? Does the defense follow that up after a really good performance last?
Lost him again. Yeah, look, I want to see the Jets win this week. I think it's important for them. Honestly, over the next 3 games, like, Carolina's a horrible road team. I know they're 3-3, but Like that's a game you should have a chance in. Then you have Cincinnati, who's looked horrible, and then after the bye, you're playing Cleveland, who equally looks as bad on offense. They're better defensively, but their offense is a joke. If you want the fan base to start feeling better about it, like, can you take 2 of your next 3 games and then it starts to look like, hey, like maybe things are changing after the bye week?
What I'm going to do, Matt, is I'm going to try and reset my computer. Hopefully you're hearing me right now. All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to have you.
I'm going to have me do what? Do you want me to? I can read off some chat questions in here. Let me pull it up on this tab on the side. We got, it's the Matt show. Rebecca saying the key to this game is for Glenn to admit that Fields is not the man to run the offense. I think what I would be looking to do, because it's obvious that Justin Fields is going to play this game, I would have a much quicker hook than what he clearly has, so that I don't know if he's going to pull him for Tyrod. But they need a really strong showing from their offensive line in the run game. They got to be able to move people around and just get Breece Hall going. If it's a game where Breece has 20 carries and is averaging 2.5 yards a carry, then you're screwed. You don't really have a good chance to play and win this game. But I don't think this is a game to drop back Justin Fields 30 times. I think you pick and choose your spots, and honestly, it's got to be a big Mason Taylor game too, because I don't like this wide receiver room at all without Garrett Wilson, and you add potentially no Josh Reynolds too. That's just going to make matters so much worse. We got some other ones in here. How do I feel about Brady Cook? I don't think he's going to ever be anything more than a backup quarterback. Maybe at some point we see, oh, there he is. We look at this. We got Jake on the phone.
Yeah, I restarted my computer. I don't know. I unplugged the Wi-Fi router again. I'm doing everything in my power to try and make this happen. Matt, I appreciate you holding it down though, because I mean, you're the perfect guy to have on because you're a pro's pro as this is happening. What I was trying to say in the middle of that is I understand like the record it being 0-6 is terrible, but this team needs to win games. And are they still playing hard for their coach? Are they still, is getting their coach their first win important to these guys? Like, does it still clearly matter to the guys out there in the field? Like, was it just an outlier performance by the defense, or are they now going to start to lock in and play for their coach in Wilkes? And obviously Glenn is an extension of that. Like, I still think despite the record being bad and they're obviously going nowhere this year, like how it looks now matters, because if they win meaningless games in late December, nobody's going to care. At that point, everyone's rooting for losses. Like, win some games now against some teams coming up starting this week in Carolina. Then you have a Bengals team that should be a winnable game. Cleveland after the bye. Like, these are teams in your weight class. You got to win some of these games, man. You can't go 0-3 against these 3 teams coming up. Like, if you can't get a win now, where are the wins coming from?
Yeah, that's a great point, honestly. And that's why I said if they win 2 of their next 3, I mean, you're still 2-7, which isn't very good, but there's more of a chance of salvaging your season. And if you're coming out of the bye and this team just looks totally different, the defense is starting to click. There's, some weeks where the offense looks good. Can you steal a win from a division rival, right? Like Miami kind of stinks. You got to beat them at home. That could be win 3 potentially. And then like, what about New England or Buffalo? Can you steal a win from them when it really matters? Because they're the 2 teams right now fighting for the top of the division. And, there's going to be some other games like, Atlanta's played much better than I think people anticipated. That's another game that you have at home, and maybe you could, knock their chances of being a playoff team out of the way. Like, there are still ways for you to have this be an okay season, even though they're going to have a losing record.
Yeah, I guess the real question is, what can Aaron Glenn do at this point to get some buyback in from the fans, right? Because we know this team is not winning, more games than they're going to lose this year. It'd be a miracle comeback to start 0-6 and finish with a winning record at this point. But what can they do down the stretch here? And it's not even down the stretch yet. That's what's so concerning. Like, we're not even at Halloween and we're talking about this. There's 11 games to go. But, like, what do we have to see from a coaching standpoint and just from the way it looks standpoint for us to feel a lot better about this regime? Because I'll tell you right now, if they're sitting there with the number 1 pick in the draft, I do not want anyone associated with this regime overseeing that pick. I think it'd be a huge mistake. We've seen what's happened around the league the last couple of years with teams that have the number one pick and what their coaching staff looks like. So I really need to see a lot over these final 11 games. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what I would like to see is for him to stop coaching scared. I think against Denver, there were a few examples of that. At the end of the half is a great one. He just went ultra conservative, or when, right before that, you have the trick play on 4th down and it feels like you're going for it, and then you just stop trying after that. I think, you really have nothing to lose. And I know everyone hates hearing the Detroit Lions comparisons, but that's where, Aaron Glenn came from. So it's going to naturally come up a lot. And what Dan Campbell did, he went ultra aggressive. He was like, F it, I don't have anything to lose. We're not a very good team. I'm going to try, to go down swinging here. And I think that's what Aaron Glenn has to do. You're not going to win games being ultra conservative and playing that mindset. Like, I just don't think it works. So can he be more aggressive in some of these spots and not settle for field goals and go for it? And, I think that would give me a little bit of a sign of life for this regime.
Well said. All right. It appears like I have internet, Matt. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do the old switcheroo. I put the phone down and I'm attempting to sign back in. We've done it. Hey. Hold on. Now let me leave from my phone. Uh-oh. Matt. And there we go. Are we back?
I think we're back.
All right. Let's see how long this one lasts. God, I apologize, everyone, for the technical issues here. And I did pay my internet bill, so I don't know why this is acting up. If you're tuned in late, Matt O'Leary is our guest in the weekly spot on the show. We're going to get to your calls coming up. I believe the pin link is still there. It is for the Gus Buster Umbrella hotline. A couple super chats. And for those who missed it, we got a sick giveaway. Signed Darrelle Revis helmet with the display case included. We will give it away on the second show. So if you can't tune in later, but you want to enter now, we're going to combine both entries from this show and the second show and give it away during our show with Dylan this afternoon. If you don't win, well, enter anyway, because guess what? You have a chance to win on Tuesday, a signed Broadway Joe helmet, signed Corvette football, and a signed Jermaine Johnson jersey. Chris with our first super chat here. He says, man, yesterday's show was such a banger. I was crying, laughing during most of it. Thanks for keeping us somewhat sane, Jake. If you missed the second show yesterday, it was unbelievable. We had everything from Gary versus Amanda. We had Beast being consoled by Big Fella and Gator. We had Mad Max taking part in the worst negotiation you will ever see to purchase Big Cho's Jets ticket. I'm sure I'm missing other things that went down, but it was absolutely bonkers, Matt O'Leary. So while the Jets might be 0-6, this fan base is still as passionate and hilarious as ever.
That makes sense. That's what happens when Jeremy comes on a show, right? Like I saw Jeremy was making his appearance yesterday in the afternoon, which is awesome. Love Jeremy. He's one of the best. But yeah, this fan base is something special, man. Like even when the team stinks, the community that we have and that we've built over the years is something special.
It really is. I mean, there's no other way to put it. For those who missed it, here's a little snippet in the worst negotiation you'll ever see between Mad Max and Big Cho.
Mad Max wants to buy your ticket.
I'll pay you 25. Is that too little for you?
I won't go under 100.
Or $105. Does that sound good, Big Show?
105?
Yes.
Wait, hold on a second. Why are you negotiating the opposite direction?
I'm just negotiating with Big Show. I'll buy your ticket,
What are you saying, 105?
105.
$105.
105. Yes, sir. For one ticket for the Panthers game.
All right, Jake, that's good.
Sounds good, Jake.
A deal has been made. Big Cho has officially sold his ticket to Mad Max.
Sounds good, Jake.
One of the worst negotiations I've ever witnessed, but a deal did get done.
You can't make it up. you really
That
can't.
was great. That was so good.
Hey, huge shout out to our guy Rick Kent, who's going to be joining us at the Panthers game on Sunday. We'll have our tailgate with Tailgate Joe beforehand. He says, I'm leaving for New York City tomorrow morning. Can't wait to see everyone. At least the weather will be nice. The weather on Sunday is going to be nice, which is kind of ironic, right? Because of how bad the Jets have been this year, Matt. In the past, the weather the last few years at MetLife for these home games has been terrible. The weather's been good, I think, at all the games this year at home, and the Jets can't get any wins whatsoever.
No, I mean, it rained through the tailgate of opening day and a little bit in the game, but then second half, sun was out. It was beautiful. But you're right. Usually you go to MetLife and it's freezing rain or just the worst weather you could possibly imagine. But no, that at least has been good. Maybe the team can take note of that and actually play well too.
Rick Kent, you're in our raffle for 20 entries. That's right. Signed Darrelle Revis helmet up for grabs. Plus, Rick will get 20 entries in the weekly raffle series as well. This one is from Eli, who says, now would be a great time to see Pritchett/Skinner. I mean, it'd be nice to see some of these guys. I already know what Allen Lazard is. Like, I don't understand why he's still going to play or get reps or whatever. Like, he had some weird tweet this morning. Like, just move on, get your 7th round pick swap from Pittsburgh for Lazard and play some of the younger guys. If we're going to go through this losing, I'd rather lose with these young guys getting reps than anything else.
Yes, maybe one of the biggest Brandon Smith truthers out there that I would like to see him get some reps. He finally got called up this past week. He was doing some cardio. I didn't see him get any targets out there, but maybe this is the week they can finally get him going.
What a concept. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Dan, who has got a super chat. Says, good year for Brees, has 1 fumble, 0 touchdowns in 6 games. Fair, he's got to find the end zone, but you're watching the games, Dan. Brees has made plays. He's looked good. It's not necessarily his fault why they haven't scored, why he personally hasn't scored a touchdown, right? I mean, it's look, I get it. He's got to score. He's got to score. I understand that. But if you're watching the games, I don't think Brees Hall's had a bad year.
No, the fumble was really bad against
that was
Dallas.
bad. Yes,
that tainted what was otherwise a really good game. He was averaging over 8 yards a carry, had well over 100 yards, and again, outside of the first game, they haven't thrown him the ball. It's driving me absolutely crazy. He's one of the best running backs out of the backfield catching passes in the league, and they just refuse to utilize him. I don't know if it's the quarterback. I don't know if it's Tanner Engstrand and the play calling, what it is, but. I still don't think he's being utilized correctly and has still had a decent season, I would say.
And it's crazy because Glenn talked about how they were going to feature Brees in the passing game, and we just haven't seen it. That was his first game in his career bat where he didn't have a target thrown his way. And like, if Fields can't complete a forward pass, I joked the other day with Frankie B, how about a lateral pass? Throw a screen. Like, get your best player the ball. If you can't get it to Garrett Wilson because Justin Fields is incapable of completing an 8-yard quick out, then can he literally just toss it to Brees Hall and can you just throw a screen pass? I don't understand why they can't do it.
I don't understand it either. Honestly, I really don't. He's one of your, like I said, he's one of your better pass catching options. Thank God they finally got Mason Taylor going, but without Garrett Wilson the next couple of weeks, like I said in the beginning of the show, I have no idea what this passing offense is going to look like, and I don't think it's going to be good.
JT has entered our Darrelle Revis signed helmet raffle for one. Rick Kent says, Jake, give Ricky NY his Wi-Fi back. Ricky NY says, Jake, I had no idea today's show would be a tribute to me and my Wi-Fi. Thank you. I'm flattered beyond words. Ricky, shout out to you. Aussie
That's
Jet fan says, am I still allowed to wear my Fields jersey? You are, Aussie Jets fan. You are. Unfortunately, that purchase I made for you, I don't think it's going to age too well, but enjoy it while you have it. Just don't wear that Zach Wilson jersey. That'd be worse.
No, that I think is one of the few that's worse.
Joey says, I'm proud of the boys for clinching a winter vacation. Man,
it's one way to look at it.
Keith Kirkwood has entered our Darrelle Revis signed helmet raffle. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you. There was a clip I wanted to play, but my internet was acting up. This is Connor Rogers and Joe Caporoso on Badlands talking about Jermaine Johnson. I'm going to play it, and then we'll talk more about the idea of the Jets potentially moving on from JJ, which, once again, I think Matt and I are aligned. We would not do.
I think it makes sense for guys like Brees and Quincy. I think if you get someone to take Michael Carter, you absolutely do that. You get rid of Lazard, sure, whatever. JJ and Quinnen, I think, are more complicated conversations. But I do feel like when it's all said and done, JJ and Quinnen will be on the team next year, and all the other guys I mentioned will certainly not.
Jermaine should be close to 0% chance that they trade him. That just logically, team building perspective, what they need doesn't make a lot of sense. Quinnen, 12%.
Okay, that's fair. We're going to find out 3 weeks now. It's coming up fast.
Yeah, it is. I'd put Brees and Quincy
over
at
50?
75. It would be a really, unless you go, we're not going to spend a lot in free agency next year, and Quincy's going to get $16 million per year from someone, maybe Robert Saleh. Then he's a big factor into our comp pick formula, where just taking what we can get from him doesn't make sense right now. But you have to do your homework and actually know that for you to hold on.
Would definitely not trade JJ. I do wonder what they could get for Quincy because he is hurt right now. I mean, I'm open to trading him because I don't think he's on the team next year, like definitively. Whereas like Brees, he might not be on the team next year, but one, do we know that for sure? And two, like if you want to win games, I think Brees is more valuable for this year than Quincy is being on the team.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you on that. And also, if you're going to draft a rookie quarterback, don't you want to have, playmakers on the team to help them? Like we always complain that they never have enough guys on offense for your rookie quarterback to fully evaluate them. Having Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, you should have a really good run game if you keep this offensive line intact. And you obviously still need a couple wide receivers, but Garrett Wilson's a good number one. It's not the worst thing in the world, I think, to keep him around.
Troy writes in, as a Jet fan, what are we looking forward to with this team? To me, it's about the head coach. It's can he show signs that game Sunday is not the start of a downward spiral that exposes him, but it's the worst it got. That's rock bottom for him. And this team now looks better over these next 11 games. One, they need to win games. Like you can't look good in losses. I don't want Aaron Glenn saying these guys are not the same old Jets when you lost. And since he said that when they fell to 0-3 after the Tampa game, they've looked even worse the following 3 games. So, like, to me, what is there to look forward to? I don't know if I'm looking forward to watching this team, right? But I need to know more about this head coach because there's a tough conversation coming if they can't go out there, Matt, and find a way to win some games here down the stretch, and they're sitting there with that number 1 pick.
No, I agree with you. And I think, I'm not ready to say definitively one way or the other that Aaron Glenn is or isn't the guy. I think it hasn't looked good, right? And totally, any criticism is totally valid right now. But I think what you're looking for is over the next 11 games, if he can show you something that makes people buy back in. And we talked about, the next 3 games. Can you win some of those games? Can you be competitive against your divisional opponents? Can you win a game that you're not supposed to win? And can the defense turn around and start looking better? I think this year was always going to be more important how they finish versus how they start. They just dug themselves a way bigger hole than I anticipated through the first 6 weeks.
I'm going to get to the super chats, but I see this from Derek. He says, Glenn's not going anywhere. There's no tough conversation. I mean, if they're 0-17, you think Aaron Glenn's back next year, Derek? Like, right now they don't have a win. I don't think they're going to go winless. So, even though I made a bet with Black Gypsy yesterday, I gave him 2-1 odds. He owes me $100 if the Jets win a game. I owe him $200 if they go 0-17. I don't think that's going to happen. They will win some football games. I truly believe that. But if they are winless, you really think he's here next year? No way. If they go 1-16, you think he's here next year? I'm not buying it. Even 2 wins, I don't think guarantees anything. 3 wins shouldn't. If it comes with a couple of those wins coming, 2 of the last 3 games against the Saints and the Bills resting everybody. Like, what did you really do? That's why I think, like, it's not even the win total. It's like when the wins happen. Like, you're playing 3 teams coming up where you have a chance to win. You have to win, 2 of these games? Like, show us something, man. We're not asking for much. The team's already 0-6.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's more eye test than actual numbers, right? Like, we could talk about the win total. I don't think at 0-17 or 1-16, it's really hard to justify bringing him back, even 2-15. But if they, and I don't know how likely this is, but if they find a way to get to 4 wins, or dare I say even 5, depending on how the next 2 go, that's a completely different story. And it's not going to completely take away the concerns that you have through the first 6 weeks of the year. But again, you want to see him showing signs of improvement throughout the course of the full 17-game season. And I think you need the full 17 games to fully evaluate it. Through 6 games to say he's absolutely coming back. He has a long contract, and I don't know if Woody Johnson's going to want to eat the money, but if he's 0-17, he might just say, fuck it, I'm going to eat the however much money's left on the deal.
Well, and the other thing, too, people are like, oh, Woody's paying Glenn a lot. Do people realize that whatever Aaron Glenn and his staff are making is ashtray money to a billionaire? Like, it doesn't count against the cap. If Woody really wanted to go on a rampage and make a change, he could. He's a bazillionaire. He's one of the richest owners in sports. Look it up. He just bought a soccer team. He has plenty of cash. And if you ever wanted more cash, you could do what the Giants are trying to do right now, which is sell a piece of the franchise and just get cash money coming in for someone to buy 15, 20% of the team if he wanted to do it. I don't think he needs the money, though. So I think this conversation with Woody is more about, like, his ego. He oversaw these hires. Like, he never felt connected to Douglas or Saleh. Those were on his brother's watch. He made these decisions on Glenn and Muji. First time he hired a coach and GM since Bowles and McCagnon a decade ago. Does Woody want to admit he screwed up this badly and fire Glenn after a year if they're sitting there with 2 wins at the end of the season? Like, that to me is more the question. Is his ego going to allow him to admit a mistake, or is he just going to give Glenn another year because he doesn't want to fire him after a year? Like, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't necessarily think, though, it's about the money. Woody's got plenty of money. I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah, I think it's how embarrassed he would be if they are a 0 or 1 win team. And if he's willing to say, you know what, maybe I did make a mistake with this hire. And we've seen him be, in a way, we've seen him be patient before, but we've also seen him be, pretty aggressive with making moves. And, firing Robert Saleh, 5 games into the season last year was the first time they ever did it in season firing before. So, if he doesn't have the faith after 1 year in Muji and Glenn after a 0-win season, I don't think anyone could blame him for not bringing back this regime.
Well, the other thing is, too, we're now seeing one-and-done coaches happen far more in the NFL. Like, it used to be like you never do it. Well, now it happens a lot. We've seen guys get fired, towards the end of their first year. Nate Hackett, Urban Meyer in recent years, Frank Reich. We've seen guys get fired after just 1 year. Steve Wilkes. Like, it happens now in the NFL. It used to never happen. It could happen. The idea that there's just no way. Like, you sure? I mean, no team's ever been 0-17 either. But yeah, the Jets right now are the only team in the league without a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's still on the table. I hope it doesn't come to that, Jake. I don't want to see an 0-17 season, but we'll see how the next 11 go.
Well, that we will. Some super chats here. Appreciate everyone tuned in. Let me mention this, though, before we get to super chat. We got Jet Royalty in the chat. The great Connie Carberg, who was at Joe Namath's charity outing on Long Island the other day. She writes in, "Good job, Matt, when things kept freezing on Jake. Matt, I owe you one. I don't want to jinx my internet, but so far, so good since I restarted everything. But you held it down at the beginning, and for that, we thank you."
And thank you, Connie. I hope you get back into your Twitter account soon.
Yeah, Connie got hacked, everyone. So report those tweets so she hopefully could get the attention of the people over at X and get her account back. She's a great follow on Twitter for any Jet fan. JC to Rod with a super chat here. Make a trade a la the Braylon Edwards trade. Get that good number 2 wide receiver. See what that does for a trade, or trade for tight end Pitts. I think he may help and revive. I don't know if Atlanta would trade Kyle Pitts. And at this point, I don't want to dump future resources into this year's team. They made their bed with their decisions at wide receiver. My big fear was Garrett Wilson having to miss a couple games with whatever injury. We're now living that out. I feel like at this point, they should not be trading any future draft capital. They should be, if anything, acquiring it. I don't want this regime making any sort of move where they trade away future picks.
No, I don't think this is the year to give draft assets for a player. Now, maybe after you have a sale at the deadline and in the offseason, you want to trade a mid-round pick for a wide receiver too. That's probably a different story. And we can talk about that in the offseason when we get there. But in season, making any additions for what? I don't see that as a good idea.
Hit the like button if you guys are just tuning in. Reminder, signed Darrelle Revis helmet is the top giveaway on the show. You can enter during this show or on the second show, and we give it away at the end of our second show this afternoon. David with the super chat here. He's in the raffle for 5. Jake and Matt, when watching the Jets game versus the Broncos, linebacker Michael Walker caught my attention with his good play as a number 3 linebacker for the Jets. I recall Walker with the Falcons. What's your take on him as a player? Interesting question here, because this is a guy that I don't think really anyone has been talking about. But with Quincy down, the Jets did need some linebacker depth. So I'm trying to think where they got. He was with the Niners last year. They got him from. I don't know. I thought the defense just in general played really well, and they tackled really well. I thought Sherwood had a good game too. I don't know enough about Walker to say whether or not he could develop into any sort of answer for this team, though.
Yeah, I mean, he played 14 snaps, so it wasn't a ton. The guy that I noticed more was Kiko Mauinoa with his play as someone that they drafted from this past draft class, who really hasn't shown a whole lot before it. But, you know, if he can build off of what he did against Denver, I think that's a really good sign. But yeah, I mean, he's only played 2 games, Walker. He had 6 snaps against Dallas and then 14 against Denver. So it hasn't really reached my radar though. Like he was fine. He wasn't noticeable in a bad way, which I guess is good for someone only playing 14 snaps. But yeah, that wasn't really someone who hit my radar.
Spencer Green says, breaking news, Jets traded Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner to Hogwarts and the Global Studio. In return, Jets get butterbeer, 3 Quidditch balls, and Beast Breaker's lawnmower. Spencer has written this exact same super chat like 3 or 4 shows in a row. Spencer, you're in the raffle for 2. God bless. What do we got here? Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Appreciate everyone for supporting the show. We will get to your calls. There is one comment I saw, though, from someone, and I just think this is silly, but I will give it the attention anyway. Charles Barkley says, no good quarterbacks in college football. Trade the number 1 pick for Cam Ward. Couple things here. 1, Tennessee is not trading Cam Ward. 2, where are we getting this? There's no good college quarterbacks this year. It wasn't necessarily the ones we thought were going to be unbelievable, but I saw Mel Kiper's rankings yesterday, and he had 4 quarterbacks in his top 21. I saw a mock draft from one of ESPN's other draft guys whose name is escaping me off the top of my head, and he had the Indiana quarterback, Mendoza, going to the Jets first overall. Like, let me tell you something. Quarterbacks get drafted. The Jets will be taking a quarterback if they have the number 1 pick. That's how this goes.
Yeah, and look, and like you said, it's not the names that we thought. I never thought that Manning was coming out anyway, but he hasn't looked very good. Nussmeier hasn't looked good. Klubnik hasn't looked as good as what we thought also, but I thought Mendoza played well. I think he's the number 1 guy, but Ty Simpson from Alabama had a good game. He's a riser. Lenora Sellers is going to go high because of his athleticism, and Dante Moore, I think, has played strong too. So there's probably going to end up being like 4 or 5 quarterbacks that go in the first round. So you got to just find the right one.
100%. Like last year, everyone said, oh, it's not a good quarterback class. Well, Cam Ward still went 1, and Jackson Dart still ended up going in the first round, and Dart has looked good so far. So like that's why if they're as bad as we think, Matt, or as bad as it's looking right now, that's why you got to have major reservations about retaining the staff, because you're going to need to find the right offensive staff, right offensive coach to develop whoever you take, because we've seen the Jets actually pick the right quarterback and they failed said quarterback. The best example, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was the right pick. He's a franchise quarterback. They just put him in the worst possible situation to have any success here. And it's a shame because that guy's now balling, and many of us loved Sam coming out, loved what he did at the end of his rookie year when we felt like he was on the cusp of really starting to figure it out. And then they saddled him with Adam Gase for 2 years, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes these guys a little bit. Like with Darnold, it was 3 years with the Jets, then 2 years in Carolina, and never really hit his stride. Was back up and was okay with the 49ers, but really year 7 for him where he finally got going. And like, I don't necessarily blame the Jets for moving on when they did. They had a number 2 pick in the draft. He was like 30th or worse in a lot of key categories over the 3 years that he was here. Talented, and it's just an unfortunate situation that they couldn't put him in a better spot and develop him to the point that he is now in Seattle.
Little public service announcement before we start with your calls. To any Jet fan who has extra tickets for the Carolina game, I have a bunch of listeners that are trying to go. Surprisingly, I don't really have any extras, Matt. So at least Jet fans who have tickets are still going to this game Sunday. The weather's going to be nice. But if anyone has tickets and they want to donate to a fellow Asmaniac, we do have some people that would love to go. So you can email me, asmanjake@gmail.com, and you can transfer your tickets to me there, and I will make sure we distribute them to some Jet fans in need who are trying to take maybe their kid to a game. They can't normally afford to go. So if anyone is trying to donate some tickets, please reach out, and I will be happy to distribute them to some Jet fans in need. Let's get to some of your calls now, shall we? First up today is a man we love, we respect. I lied about all that. It's Alan.
Alert, alert, Alan alert. HC Jet fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Alan alert. Delusional dreams for pathetic fans. My Big Joe is a dog. Beast Breaker is fat and dumb as a rock. And Gator's a dick who blocked all my chats. We should have got all Josh Allen to start. This show needs me. Jake knows I'm right, and he's always wrong. Alert, alert, Alan alert. HC Jet fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Alan alert. You hate because I'm always right.
Jacoby and Matthew, how are you doing, guys?
Go Islanders.
Matthew, which fire sale are you looking forward to more, the Jets or the Islanders? Because they're both going to have it. You know that.
I do. I think the Islanders are a lot closer than where the Jets are right now. So I'm looking more forward to the Islanders one.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Here's the question in 2.5 weeks that I would ask Darren Muji. Who is the general manager of this team? Because when Aaron Glenn goes up to the mic yesterday and says that Breece Hall, it's rumors and rumors, where he's not the general manager, it basically slaps Darren Muji in the face. You should not be the one answering those questions. You should deflect those questions to your GM. I understand that Aaron Glenn pretty much runs the show in that building, but the idea that he's answering those questions at 0-6 is laughable. I need someone to explain that to me. Why he's asking answering the questions about Breece Hall at the deadline. It makes no sense. Please explain that to me.
The Muji was introduced as Glenn's sidekick at the opening press conference. So I think
he's his bitch, right? Pretty much.
I mean, yeah, that's one way to put it. But yeah, in a way, sure.
It's like Lynch and Shanahan. It's a head coach driven organization.
Okay, but Shanahan would never answer that question the way that Aaron Glenn would answer it.
Well, I got news to you, Alan. I don't know if you noticed, but Aaron Glenn is not Kyle Shanahan, not even close.
Okay, so why is he answering questions like he's the GM?
Because he kind of is the GM.
Okay, then what is Muji there for?
He's there to assist Glenn. Glenn can't do everything. He can't be scouting every player year round like Muji's starting to and be on the phone with teams as Glenn's putting together game plans with his coaches.
So is it legit at the bye when this team is, let's say, 1-7? We'll give him a win. This team is 1-7. If Rich Cimini or Brian Costello asks Muji, who's running the show here, what is he going to say?
I think Muji would say, I'm the GM, but I think when push came to shove, if they ever disagreed on something and they had to go to Woody for the tiebreaker would go to Aaron Glenn.
Laugh. Then I have no idea why Muji took this job. I understand there's one of 32.
Well, that's why. It makes him look like Glenn. A fool. Well, I mean, think about it, though. John Lynch did the same thing with Shanahan. If it's working, who cares? They both would get credit.
Okay, I'm shocked Aaron Glenn answered that question that way. And first of all,
that's not the first time he's done that, though, because over the summer when they asked him about the Breece rumors, he said, I called Breece and said, I'm not trading you, Breece. He said, I'm not trading you. Another indicator that Glenn is also, in addition to being the head coach, the final decision maker on the team.
They better trade Breece. They better trade Quincy.
What if you get a fifth for Breece? You still want to trade him?
I don't care. I want somebody. He's not coming back. He's not. Get a guy in the 5th round. I don't care. Again,
Tyler Barron, great. There's your 5th round pick.
The last 2 years, you allowed DJ Reed to walk for nothing. You allowed Bryce Huff to walk for nothing.
No, they got Hassan Reddick.
What?
They got Hassan Reddick.
Okay. So you're going to let Breece walk for nothing. You're going to let Quincy walk for nothing.
You got to factor in the comp pick formula too.
There's no hold on. They have $80 million in cap space, so you expect them to spend money. So those comp picks will mean nothing because they're going to pay guys upwards of 15 to 20 million, and it will basically offset those picks.
Do we know that? I mean,
yes, we're going to know. They're not going to sit around with $80 million and not spend any money.
I don't think we know. I don't think we know anything about this regime yet.
Okay, they are not. They are going to spend money this offseason.
They should definitely do it because they suck and they need talent. Yes.
Yeah, they're going to have to spend money. Again, I'm with you, Jake, and trust me, that's a rarity. If this team goes 2-15, they need to blow this shit up. I totally agree with you. But again, if they are back next year, they are going to spend money. So why not get picks now for guys that you can get picks for? Again, Quincy to San Francisco is such an easy deal.
How do you know they're going to offer a trade package for Quincy?
They have 4 4th-round picks. San Francisco.
I'll take a 4th for Quincy.
Yes, they have 4 4th-round picks.
I want a 4th for Breece, though. I'm not trading him for a 5th.
Why not?
Because I want this team to try and find a way to win some games here.
They're 0-6 going nowhere.
I don't want them to go win. I want to have some faith that because there's no guarantee that Glenn is definitely out, even if they go 2-15.
Okay, what is the percentage that Breece Hall comes back next year?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. You don't have to answer it, Jake. Don't worry. We have somebody else on the line. Hey, Matt, what percentage is Breece coming back?
I'll say 30%.
Okay, you're being very optimistic, Mac. You're very, very.
I don't. That's a 70% chance he's gone, though.
Okay.
Like
I would say 85% he's gone.
They have his rights. They could use the franchise tag and just keep him for a year like the Giants did with Barkley. Like he's a valuable piece of their offense. They're going to have a rookie quarterback. Wouldn't it make sense to have a legitimate running back? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion he's gone. And Boomtown makes a good point. What's the percentage that they even hit on a 5th round pick? Come on.
But again, hold on. You brought Darren Muji in because of his scouting skills. Okay. There's 5th round picks all over the league that are impactful. Puka Nacua, 5th round pick. Khalil Shakir, 5th round pick. I understand this franchise, they fall asleep after the 2nd round. But again, you have to pick 5th round picks. Those guys should make impactful spots on this team.
I agree.
Unfortunately, they have not.
But more likely than not, you're not going to hit on a 5th round pick. It's just math. Most teams don't.
You can find a guard in the 5th round. You can find a center in the 5th round. You can find a number 3 receiver in the 5th round. I understand the Jets don't find anybody in the 5th round. I get that. Okay. But you could find players. The idea that you're going to let Breece Hall walk for nothing is crazy.
Well, we played the clip from Samini, and there's the comp pick formula to factor in. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion they would get nothing from Breece.
You talk about comp picks. As I said, they have $80 million in cap space. The comp picks will offset because they're going to spend money. Okay. The same thing with DJ Reed. They could have gotten a 4th round comp pick. The problem is they gave Brandon Stevens $36 million and the comp pick went goodbye.
Now, Dylan says, Allen's asking us to find a starter in the 4th, 5th round. It's hilarious. He knows how the draft works and just spews nonsense anyway.
You could find a starter in the 4th. Okay. Hey, Dylan, you actually said the Jets and the Patriots will have the same record. So please don't talk. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, how many games did you have the Jets winning this year, Allen?
I had them in 6, and I had the Patriots at 9 or 10.
Interesting. Very interesting. And Aaron Glenn was your guy, and you've already soured on him.
He was my guy because here's the problem. Look at the other candidates. They had no other candidates. Again, Ben Johnson didn't want the job. Cliff Kingsbury didn't want the job. Liam Cohen didn't want the job. Okay. No true young offensive mind wants this job. Okay?
I'll tell you what, you could get one of those guys.
I
mean, you could get one of those guys if they have the number 1 pick.
Okay, that's why. Again, as I said in a previous call, Jake, they need to bottom out. You trust me. You say, "Oh, you want to win games." Why do you need to win games at 1-12 when they have 4 games left?
Because I don't want to one and done the coach in an ideal scenario.
Okay, if this team is 1-12, let's say this, they have 3 games left at 1-12.
Then I want them to lose out. Yes.
Okay. So then you want them to tank at that spot.
Yes, but that's been my point the last couple of days. Like, it's not necessarily about just the win total, because I could see them winning 2 of their last 3 games easily. It's what the Jets do in their history, right? They play at the Saints. That's a winnable game. They could easily beat the Bills playing for nothing in Week 18.
Why do you think the Bills are going to play for nothing? They're 4-2. I think they're first in the conference.
I think they'll figure it out.
they're not even first in the division.
I think they'll have everything figured out by then. I still think they're the best team in the AFC East, and they'll have the division clinched, and there will be resting guys.
I do not think they'll have. There's a good chance they may not have the conference clinched, but they might have the division clinched.
So I think they'll rest. I think they'll rest players at that point.
They might, but again, they would want to go out of.
Can we argue about this when we get closer to Week 18?
Okay, just all I have is one question. At 1-11, with 4 games left, or whatever, do you want this team to lose out?
Probably. I got to see what it looks like at that point.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate it. What?
I said I would also agree with that. The probable at 1-11, it's over at that point.
Thank you very much. And Matthew, again, we need the Islanders to lose out as well. Okay, have a good one, man.
Alan, the pleasure was definitely not all ours. God,
79 more games left. Got to hope for every loss.
Hey, all Alan loves is when his teams are bad. Like, he's just like, look how giddy he was to talk to you about how bad the Islanders have been so far.
I mean, they're not good. They're probably going to end up with the top 10 pick regardless, but whatever. We could save that conversation for another
day. Were they supposed to be this bad though again?
No, I thought they'd be like hovering around the 500.
That's what I thought. Like, I know they're 0-3, right? But they shouldn't be this bad. Like, I understand they probably weren't going to be a great team this year, but like, there is talent still. It's kind of like the Jets. There is talent on their team.
The defense, their defense outside of Matthew Schaefer is atrocious right now.
At least Schaefer looks like a stud.
He is unbelievable. But that's the thing. Like, that's appointment television for 80 more games this year, because you have to see what this kid's going to do.
Yep. Medic with a super chat here. He says the only way to change the culture is to sell the team. Unfortunately, that won't happen. Woody is not going to sell the team, right? So what you have to hope is that he hires the right people. And that's what concerns me about this 0-6 start and some of the comments from Glenn and how it's looked and the moves that Muji made in the offseason, completely neglecting wide receiver, neglecting edge, neglecting key areas. To me, that is the concern because Woody's not selling the team. He hired these guys. He has not meddled once to this point. These have been all their decisions, and I have major doubts 6 games in, which is why before we get to that 1-11 mark with 4 games to go, yeah, I'd like to see some wins here against teams that are in the Jets weight class. That's why I think it's important to win games now and not, we started 1-11, but we won 2 of our last 3 here down the stretch, and Glenn's going to try and sell us on them headed in the right direction when they most obviously would not be.
No, 1-11 and winning games is very different from where you are right. There's still 11 games left. So if you salvage, and I'm not even saying this would be great, but over your last 11 games, if you're like 5-6, you can sell yourself on things trending in the right direction. Do I think they're going to go 5-6 over the last 11? Probably not, but that's how this team has to think.
Ladies and gentlemen, last chance to get your super chat responded to by Mr. O'Leary. We'll do one more call with Matt O'Leary, and then we will thank Matt for having to really step up today as my internet was absolute dog crap. Someone texted me, your internet was worse than how Justin Fields played on Sunday. And the other text I got was someone commented, AG is Jake's IT guy. Jeez. Amazing. More of your calls. Here we go.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
What's up, Kyle?
Kyle, how is MetLife?
It's not as good as it'll be on Sunday for our first win. Yeah, boy. So I learned something I didn't know this morning. Did you know that Joe Namath was on Nixon's enemies list?
Was he? I had no idea.
He was inappropriately labeled as a Giants quarterback, so we can't even get blackballed correctly. This poverty franchise. It's insulting. Just listening to this last call with Alan, I kind of agree with him in the sense that, the smart thing for Glenn to do is to not talk about it, and the easy thing to do is just to defer to the GM and pretend like he doesn't have the power that we know he has, because you want to have the flexibility to change your mind if you get wowed by an offer for Breece Hall. It doesn't make any sense for him to say, he could just say it's rumors, Breece is continuing to work. He's on the team. We love and respect Breece and leave it at that. Right. Like, I don't understand why he's jumping through hoops to say that to give the impression he's not going anywhere when he very well may go somewhere. And as far as like the trade market goes, you got to listen on everybody, and that's always true, but it's particularly true for the Jets right now. There are some players where we have to be wowed. There are some players where their contracts are impediments to moving in the trade market. But there's some players that where if you get a deal, it makes sense. To me, if a team were to come in with a 4th round pick for Breece right now, I'd probably take it. And that's not really a comment on Breece. It's just a comment on the fact that we need to be able to build this for the future. And what do we cling to? I mean, we've had these players for several years now, and we can't get over the hump. We can't get back to the playoffs. Maybe it's time. We've changed the coaches. We've changed the front office a little bit. Maybe it's time to change out some of the players and see if we can have some luck with that.
I just don't think a 5th round pick is enough to do it, though. Without Braylon Allen. If Braylon Allen was healthy, I'd say fine.
I think for Breece, the difference between a 5th rounder and a 4th rounder is really huge. but I think also Alan's point is well taken. Especially in the fourth round, you can find players that can you can plug in and maybe start at guard, nickel corner or like running back, those types of positions, safety, center. Those are valuable, and they're valuable to go up in the draft too. So that's all I had, gentlemen. I will talk to you later.
Mr. Clifton,
Kyle.
thank you. Man, what a sad state of affairs, Matt, that this is the conversation on October 16th.
It is a very sad state of affairs. While he was talking, I figured I would do a very limited research, but off my very limited research of a Google search, a 5th round pick has approximately a 15% chance of becoming a starter in the NFL.
What's a 4th round pick?
Let's change up my question and see if we can get a good answer here. 4th round pick is 20.06% chance.
Interesting. That's why I want at least a 4th for Brees.
You have a better shot with the 4th. That's for damn sure.
Jack with a super chat. He says the worst part of 0-6 is that I guarantee that if some of us were coaching this team, we would have a win or two. I think that is what's so scary about this start. I know we'd have at least one win. How do I know that, Matt? Because 99.9% of Jet fans did not want Xavier Gibson on the team. So if that move was made, do they not win week 1? Like that, if that's the only thing that's different. It's like we oversaw cut down day and we didn't keep Gibson. Is it like, do they not have a win right now?
I might give us 2 wins then, because I think everyone would have benched Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor at some point in this game too.
Absolutely. I mean, I said it on the radio to Mike Tannenbaum in real time, and then it never happened.
Did he agree with you, or did he defend Aaron Glenn's decision?
No, he defended it. He's like, oh, I don't know yet. We don't know what's going on. I'm like, Mike, stop it. He can't complete a pass. I'm like, you have Tyrod for this exact reason, to spark your team. Like, brutal.
That's tough.
And then the end of the first half, he was like, well, they didn't have a timeout left. And I'm like, Mike, they ran a fake earlier on the drive. They just stopped being aggressive. Like, how do you not throw a Hail Mary there? He's like, that's a fair point. I'm like, yeah.
No shit. It's a fair point. Thank you.
God. Just kill me. Matt, I really appreciate your time, though. Thanks for co-hosting. Where can people find your channel if they don't already know? I mean, come on now.
At Matt O'Leary NY on YouTube and all social media. We're talking Jets every day.
Easy. I'm gonna put Matt's link in the chat, so make it super easy for everyone to subscribe. Matt, I will talk to you soon. Appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. Later, guys.
Matt O'Leary with us there. Hit the like button. Make sure you guys are aware of the fact that we have a very special giveaway today on the show. It's a Darrelle Revis signed helmet. Remember that pick Revis had against the Carolina Panthers? Remember that interception that man had in 2009? I do. And it was magical. Justin Spencer has entered himself in the raffle. He is in for one. Oh, baby. All right. Open phone lines for those of you who want in on the conversation. Right now, there's only one person on hold, and he's coming to us from Finland, but he's originally from Australia. AJF. Hello, Australian Jets fan. You might have to unmute your mic if you want to do this thing called talk.
I have to correct you. I'm actually back in Australia now.
Wow, permanently?
Not permanently, but for a while.
What happened? Is school out?
No, I came back to celebrate my grandma's 80th birthday.
Very nice. So how long are you in Australia?
I don't know. Probably till around next summer.
Okay, that's a long time.
But yeah, I don't want to defend Justin Fields for his performance against the Broncos because I think it was inexcusable, but I think, I'm not sure if I like how quickly the whole fan base was to just sort of like turn on him. I think looking at it, I think coaching has a lot to do with it. Like, I think people like to forget that the Steelers wanted to re-sign him last year. I still think that Justin Fields can be a starter in this league with the right, people around him. And I know that he looked scared to throw, and that's why I'm saying that I'm not defending him because I think, he still needs to prove himself, but I still think he can. I think there's a lot left in the season. Like Glenn said, it was one bad game. I know he hasn't looked the best, but I still feel like he deserves a few games to get back on track. And if he doesn't, we got to go to Tyrod. But I hope that he gets lucky enough to go somewhere else where they can actually get the best out of him, because I don't think they're doing that here, especially with the play calling.
I mean, the play calling I think has been abysmal, but at the same time, when there's guys that open and he can't throw the ball, and this is not a rookie we're talking about, this is a guy who's played a lot of games. He's in his 5th year. What are we doing? And I think the fact that I think the fact that Fields said yesterday that his legs have not been feeling great and that he's been dealing with a contusion since the Miami game, right? The fact that he said that, and then the Jets still went out there and allowed him to finish this game, knowing that part of Fields' ability to be any sort of starter in this league is the threat of the run. Insane. Like that. He's a worse quarterback than Zach Wilson if Fields doesn't have the power to run. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about the legs. Like, this is my first time hearing about it. It's really annoying being on Australian time, because I can't, like, I could watch every show when I was in Finland. Here it's like all in the middle of the night, so if I get the chance I have to catch up, but I miss being able to watch every show live.
Well, I'm glad that at least you get to spend some time with family, AJF. I hope it's a magical time, and I'm sorry that the Jet games are now even more inconvenient for you to try and watch.
It's not fun. I mean, at least the London game was at like midnight, so I didn't have to stay up too late. But getting up at 4 a.m. is not fun, especially especially when the Jets look as bad as they have.
Now, where exactly are you calling us from? Because I don't know if you're in like a prison or like you're hanging out with like aliens there. What's up with this green lighting?
I'm in my bedroom. I made the lights green because Jets and stuff.
So you could put on a full light show for us, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but I think I don't know, because if I swipe out of StreamYard right now, I think my camera turns off by default.
I see. Well, I'll tell you what. Next time you call in, give us a full laser light show, all right?
I will. I'll make sure to. If I'm awake at 2 a.m. again, I will.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. AJF.
What is this? Who is this guy? Bad freaking Bunny. What is that?
All right, open phone lines. Last chance to get in here. Reminder, the 3 prizes for the weekly raffle. We gave them out on Tuesday. Jermaine, signed jersey. Wayne Corbett, signed football. Broadway, Joe Namath, signed helmet. Plus, second show today, Darrelle Revis, signed helmet. You can enter now, though. We're combining entries across both shows because it's a massive prize. Trying to step it up for the community because the Jets don't love us. So I want to show my appreciation by having sick giveaways for all of you. All right. Here's the question that I have. What is everyone's favorite Jets versus Panthers memory? Because we don't get a lot of these games, right? They're a non-division cross-conference opponent. I'm trying to think, the last time the Jets played the Panthers, could it have been the Zach Wilson versus Sam Darnold debut game? I'm trying to think. Because I don't actually remember off the top of my head the last time the Jets played the Panthers. Like, the all-time series, they just don't play that much. Last game versus Carolina was that opening game. I just looked it up. The Jets have actually lost 3 in a row to the Panthers, for what it's worth. So they got to end that streak. Their all-time record versus Carolina is 3-5. And by the way, we've reached that part of the year where the Jets get the worst announcers. You know who's calling the game Sunday? Chris Myers and Mark Schlereth. Wonderful. I'll be there, though, so I don't have to worry about that. Sorry to everyone else. What else can I find about this game here? I'm just going through some of the game notes the Jets send out. Yeah. That's all I got right there. That matters anyway. Let's see. Super chat here from Mike Perez, who's in the raffle for 2. He says, we played the Panthers the least out of any NFL team. Is that true? I guess logically that makes 2. That makes sense. Panthers are 5-3 all time, but only 1-2 on the road. I remember that great game. It actually was a really entertaining game. It was the McCown year. McCown versus Cam Newton. Remember that Jets-Panthers game? I guess it was the 2017 season. Robbie Anderson, I remember, had a big game. It was a good game. I'm pulling up the box score from that game. 35-27. Panthers beat the Jets. The Jets were 4-7 after losing that game. Carolina improved to 8-3. McCown, though, he had a great game. 19 of 36, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bilal Powell, 9 carries, 34 yards. Receiving wise, Robbie Anderson, 6 catches, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jermaine Kearse had a quietly great season for the Jets that year. 7 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Good times. McCown threw 3 so 2 to Anderson, 1 to Kearse. Rushing wise, here were the running backs that day for the Jets. Bilal Powell, Matt Forte, and Elijah McGuire. What a team. Cam Newton, 11 of 28, 168 yards passing, but as a runner, I remember he killed them. Cam had 9 carries for 28 yards to get a touchdown. He actually really didn't play that great. I don't know how Carolina scored so many points. I just remember that was a shootout, though. It was like a highly entertaining game. What do we have here? We have more calls before we wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, we head to Mexico. We already did Australia, now Mexico. Daniel's next. Hello, Daniel.
Hello. Does my internet is working well this time?
Your internet is working great.
Amazing. The last time I just we finished the show on a very Jets fashion way. So I just want to share that if we are going to have a prime pick for the next year's draft, I don't trust to this regime because it's obvious that Aaron Glenn is not good at scouting talent. We both know that we were lack on wide receiver position and edge position. And now that we don't have Garrett, we actually don't have any passing game, unfortunately.
Any interest in trying out to be a receiver Sunday, Daniel?
I might. I mean, I was thinking about making a call on Sunday. On Saturday, because I was trying to do the same thing that Sean did to catch the interception, and then I will try to throw the ball. I was good at quarterbacking when I was young, but I will do anything to make the Jets win at least one win on this season. And yeah, I mean, we don't have any wide receiver room, and we are lacking on a lot of stuff. Brees Hall, it's a guy that I want to keep him. I don't care if we are losing. He's just a guy that is professional and will try to do their best to bring something into the table as the running game.
Daniel.
This trap of the rebuilding. Aaron Glenn was saying that he's ready for winning now. And now he's trying to sell us this stuff about, oh, we need to build a foundation. This is not an instant coffee. And we all know that that is bullshit. So don't fall into the mediocrity. Maybe the organization will be mediocre, but we are not. We are fucking Jets fans, and we don't like the franchise we're built.
Daniel's internet sounding a lot like mine at the beginning of the show. Daniel, good call, though. We got most of that. I agree. PBM. Mike, change your username so people know it's you. Jiu-Jitsu Recovery. Because YouTube did this stupid thing where usernames are now showing as @handles for people. So everyone go into your settings and change it to your normal name so the chat understands who's actually who. I wish I could go back to the old settings on my end, but Mr. Tube won't let me do it. PBM wrote in, though, 4-7 sucks and we die to be there. Yeah, look, the 2017 Jets Had no expectations. None. That was the suck for Sam year, remember? And McCown played competently, way better than Justin Fields. And that team actually was fun for a little bit. They were. They weren't a great team. But when McCown was healthy that year, they actually, at one point, were 3-2. Imagine being 3-2. They started 0-2. They lost to Buffalo, lost to the Raiders. I thought they were truly going to be the worst team in the NFL. Then they won 3 straight. They beat Miami, beat Jacksonville, beat the Browns. They were 3-2. And then they lost 3 in a row. But then they beat the Bills on that Thursday night, that game where everyone was dancing. And we started to buy back in a little bit. I remember. And then the Jets did what they always do. Just when you thought they had a legit chance to make something of their season, they go to Tampa. I remember I was driving home from like fall break in college. I stopped at an Applebee's so I could watch the whole game. And the Jets lost. They were 4-5. If they won, they could have got. They lost to a 2-5 Bucks team. If the Jets won, they would have been back to 5-5 and had a real chance for a season. Instead, they lost. Fitzpatrick against his old team beat the Jets. And then they had their bye week. They come out of the bye. They lost that game to Carolina. They did win that game against Kansas City in the shootout. And then McCown got hurt in the Bronco game, and then they lost their last 4 that year. But they were at least an entertaining team. They didn't have a lot of talent. But they were not getting blown out. They were scoring points, so it was entertaining to watch. McCown had a good year. They won games, which was nice, right? Like at one point, they were 4-5 in November. We'd kill to be 4-5 on November 2nd. This year, the trade deadline is November 4th. The Jets could be 0-8 at that point. We'd kill to be 4-5 like the Jets were going into that November 2nd game against the Bucs I just talked about. And yeah, that loss sucked and it was bad and it hurt. But I want that type of hurt, not like the holy crap, this is like as bad as it's ever been. What do we do? Want to done the cut? Like, man. Once McCown got hurt and Bryce Petty tried to play quarterback, they had no chance. But that team, even though the final record was 5-11, they were better than your typical 5-11 team when Josh McCown played. And that's sad because Josh McCown was how old that year? And the OC was John Morton, who's now the OC of the Lions. He was a good play caller for the Jets, and then they got rid of him. Kevin says that was the year they almost beat New England at MetLife. Yeah, they got screwed. That was the Austin Safarian Jenkins game. Remember that? The refs completely screwed the Jets on that one. More calls. Jams is up next on the program, followed by Frank. Hello, Jams. Whoa, Jams, put some clothing on. Also, unmute your mic.
There we go. How's it going, Jake?
Jams, are you naked right now?
No, I just don't have a shirt on.
Okay.
If it makes you feel any better, I'll put one on, though.
You do whatever your heart desires, Jam.
All right. Well, when you're 0-6, this is what happens. You get trade rumors, Brees, Jermaine. It stinks. I don't want to give up hope, but I'm at my breaking point. I'm done. I'm getting ready to I hate to say it, but switch teams and become a bandwagon.
Don't do the Gorman. You don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that. Because I know it's wrong because I've made fun of people who are bandwagon, and now I'm doing that. So.
No, you're in this for life, James. You can't leave.
Great. Yeah, that's true. I'll try to stick it out. Maybe they'll turn it around but like you said, he looks like he's in over his head. He's getting
to do a better job.
I think I could do a decent job. Despite, my mannerism, I think I could rally them and get them hyped for games. yeah, he's getting arrogant with the media. He puts on this tough guy persona, which is fine. But if you're going to do that, you have to win games. When you lose and you do that, it comes across to the media as being a dickhead, and he doesn't he doesn't care, I guess. When he's answering, some of these questions, about,
Hey, Jams, have you thought about hosting a show with Mad Max?
Mad Max?
Two completely different styles of delivering Jets opinions. One is on cocaine, potentially, and the other is smoking copious amounts of weed.
Yeah, actually, I did. Yeah, yesterday I got pretty stoned. So yeah. Yeah, he probably, if he's not on cocaine, then whatever he's on, I need some of that. But yeah. I don't want to. If you're gonna, I don't want them to trade Brees. I don't want them to trade any of them. But if you're going to, you're probably not going to get the value for Brees. But if you do somehow, then it just sucks that you're in this position now and we're barely in the start of the season and players are already, questioning being here and questioning the coach because you're 0-6.
What's on the agenda today, James?
I gotta work later.
Do you work without a shirt on?
No. They might frown upon it, but I suppose they could. My manager might, frown upon it, but I don't work till 2:30, so I'm probably just gonna relax, maybe smoke, and yeah. That's what else? There's something else that I wanted to. Oh yeah, and the Garrett injury, which which he will tell you he got two hands on it, so he should have caught it. However, you made Garrett have to twist and turn, and now he's hurt, and there's nobody else at receiver besides, Brees, Mason Taylor, or whatever. They knew that going in and chose not to sign a capable number 2 or a quasi 1, and they had, however much time to do so, and then chose not to, and now this is what happens. And then if Justin Fields was injured, why is he out there? Everybody knows Tyrod should have been starting in the second half. If Fields was hurt, why is he out there? Everybody knows his strength is his legs. When you don't use his legs or he can't use his legs, that's what happened. He looked like he was scared to throw the ball.
Now, how high are you?
How high am I? I would say I'm probably a 5 out of 10. I'm like mid high. Of course, if I smoke though, I'll probably reach 10 fairly soon.
Well, Jams, I'm having some internet connection issues here, so I'm going to let you run. Appreciate the call. My internet's been acting up, but Jams was going on for so long that while my thing would freeze, it then eventually would come back and saying my connection is unstable. So bear with me, folks, because we're going to wrap the show up soon anyway, but there are a couple more people on hold. I want to get in here. All right. You guys can see clearly I'm having some internet issues. So I'm back on my phone right now because I don't know how to get things to stop working. We were good for a while, but for those tuning in late, this was a problem at the beginning of the show. So I'm going to try and get to Thunder Lip Super Chat here. And a good thing that we are doing the raffle on the second show today for the signed Revis helmet. So that does buy me a little more time, but I can't even pull it up. That's so annoying. All right. Thunderlips, I see your super chat that goes says, put me in the raffle. Today's my 25th. And it just disappeared on me. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. This has never been this bad tech-wise before. His super chat says, put me in the raffle. Today's my 25th year. Active duty birthday. Jet sucked for like 20 of them. Time flies. See you Sunday. I'll be the ugly guy with a mustache. That might be me. Thunderlips. I got my mustache for now, too, but probably won't be there on Sunday. I appreciate your support, Thunderlips, and happy anniversary. Thank you for your service. Apologies that I can't do our normal show at the end here. Big T, I see your super chat. I'm going to acknowledge it right now. He wrote in, I never would have thought the season would be like this, but damn, at least make the games entertaining. Please turn this around for the players and the fans. Show some heart. Love your show, Jake. We need you. Thank you, Big T. I agree. We didn't expect much. You know, we just went through the 2017 season. I think it's similar. The expectations for that team were so low. We thought they were going to be the worst team in the league. We had a fun season for a while. Like the Jets had the chance to be 5-5 on November 2nd going into that Bucs game. This team's 0-6 right now. Accepting Aaron Glenn's performance and the way this team has played is just so disingenuous, acting like it was always supposed to be bad. Like this was going to be some like long rebuild. It wasn't. The only thing that needs a rebuild is my internet. Let's be real. Testing, is this thing on? You guys seeing it too? Whoa. All right. Are we back? We back? Back? Maybe? Frank, you there?
Hey, what's up, Jake? Yeah, I can hear
Hey,
you.
Frank, rip your tape off, and then we'll wrap because I have to figure out this.
Yeah,
internet
real
issue.
quick, man. With the depleted wide receiver room, why don't we give these guys like Skinner and Pritchett? Let like if Muji and Glenn are going to be on the hot seat, let us see what you're at least building for the future. Why not let these guys play? They should have been on the roster over Gibson. We all thought that. Like at this point, why don't you let these guys on the field and see what they got at least. Let us know that you know what you're doing moving forward, at least from a talent standpoint.
I agree. I mean, and that's the problem when you give this much say to a coach who's never been a head coach before, who also has seemingly complete say over the personnel too.
Yeah, I mean, these guys showed something in preseason. We were all saying they deserved a spot. So at this point, with Garrett out, Reynolds out, I mean, what do you got to lose? Let's see what these guys got. Let's see what you're doing moving forward, at least. So I like to see these young guys get on the field more. And obviously, I mean, I'm diehard like you guys, disappointed, and it's sad that our off season is like.
All right. You guys can see I'm clearly having some issues here. I apologize. This is the worst my internet situation has ever been. I got to go scream at Verizon because this is unacceptable. We will do the signed Revis helmet giveaway at the end of the second show, but I think we did catch up on all the super chats. So hopefully by this afternoon, things will be a lot better. Thanks for bearing with the tech issues, guys. I sincerely apologize. We will be back at 4:30 Eastern with our second show that hopefully sounds and looks a lot cleaner than this. Dylan Terriman will be our guest then. So I'll talk to you guys then. Once again, apologies. Go.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.